All right, good morning. Lesson 3.8, slopes of parallel and perpendicular lines. All right, so last lesson we learned about how to determine how to find a slope on an XY coordinate with two ordered pairs. All right, here we're going to be given two lines and we are going to be able to tell if they are perpendicular or if they are parallel. Okay, so first let's look at the key concept, slopes of parallel lines. If two non-vertical lines are parallel, then their slopes are equal. If the slopes of two distinct non-vertical lines are equal, then the lines are parallel. And any two vertical lines or horizontal lines are parallel. All right. And so in part one, we need to check to see if lines 1 and 2 are parallel, all right? So remember, we have to use the equation to find the slope. M is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, okay? And if the slope of L1 and L2 are the same, then they're equal, all right? So we have a point at -1, 5 here and 2, -4. So we'll call -1, 5 x1, y1 and x2, y2 down here, okay? So y2, -4 minus y1, -4 minus 5, and then x2 minus x1, all right? -4 minus 5 is -9. 2 minus -1 is 3. -9 divided by 3 is just -3. All right? And then let's look at line 2. We have -3, 3, and -1, -4. We'll call this x1, y1, x2, y2. Okay, so -4 minus 3 and -1 minus -3. Okay, -4 minus 3 is -7. -1 plus 3 is 2. So our slope is -7/2 and -3. All right, and then in step 2, it asks us to compare the slopes. Well, if the lines are parallel, then the slopes are equal. So line 1 does not equal line 2, so the lines are not parallel. All right, now let's look at the next example where it says line 3 and line 4, okay, we're given the two ordered pairs for line 3 and line 4, and we want to see if line 3 and line 4 are parallel. So if the slopes are equal, then the lines are parallel. So let's look at L3 first, okay? Y2 is 2, Y1 is 6, so 2 minus 6 over -1 minus -13, okay? So 2 minus 6 is -4. And -1 plus 13 is +12, which is just -1/3, okay? Now let's look at line 4, all right? We'll let 3 and 6 be x1, y1, and 6 and 7 be x2, y2. So y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So 7 minus 6 is 1, and 6 minus 3 is 3, okay? Well, if you notice, line 3 is negative and line 4 is positive, okay? Just that one negative sign makes us know that these two slopes are not equal. So line 3 is not equal to line 4, so the lines are not parallel. All right, part 2 says write equations of parallel lines, okay? So it says, what is an equation of the parallel line to y is equal to -3x minus 5 that contains the ordered pair -1, 8. All right. So here we're going to have to write these equations in point slope form just because we're given an ordered pair, right? Now remember, the point slope is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. All right. So identify the slope of the given line. Well, our slope is m is equal to -3. All right. So we want to use a point slope form to write the equation. So y minus y1, which is 8, equals the slope times x minus x1. Okay, well, x1 is negative. Two negatives make a positive, so that's why we have x plus 1. All right, same thing right here. We want to write an equation of the line parallel to y is equal to negative x minus 7 that contains the points negative 5, 3. All right. Now the slope is negative 1, all right, and we have to write this in point slope form. And so we have y minus 3 equals negative x plus 5, okay? Our x1 is negative, two negatives make a positive. All right, so that was how we determine if the lines are parallel. Now let's look at how to determine if the lines are perpendicular, okay? So if two non-vertical lines are perpendicular, then the product of their slope is negative 1, okay? And if the slopes of two lines have a product of negative 1, then the lines are perpendicular. And any horizontal line and vertical line are perpendicular. All right, so let's look at the example. We wanted to determine if line 1 and 2 are perpendicular. So let's find the slope of line 1. Here I have 2 points, negative 4, 2, and 0, negative 4. All right, so y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Negative 4 minus 2 is negative 6. 0 minus negative 4 is positive 4. So our slope is negative 3/2, okay? Now let's look at the slope of line 2, okay? Well, here we have negative 5, negative 3, and 4, 3, okay? So y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, all right? So 3 minus negative 3 is 6. 4 minus negative 5 is 9. This could be reduced to 2/3, all right? And then it says find the products of the slopes. So we're going to multiply line 1, the slope of line 1, times the slope of line 2. And if it equals negative 1, then our lines are perpendicular, okay? So let's look. So line 1 was negative 3/2, and line 2 was 2/3, okay? Negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. 2 times 3 is 6. Anything written over itself is 1, but we have a negative sign, so our product is negative 1. So, are these lines perpendicular? Yes. All right, and then the next example it says we want to find if lines 3 and 4 are perpendicular. So we just need to find the slope of line 3, line 4, and multiply them. And if they equal negative 1, then our two lines are perpendicular, okay? So let's call A x1, y1, B x2, y2. So y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, okay? So negative 1 minus 7 is negative 8. 3 minus 2 is 1, so our slope is negative 8. And then line 4, we'll call C x1, y1, and D x2, y2. So 7 minus 6 over 8 minus negative 2. 7 minus 6 is 1. 8 minus negative 2 is 10. Multiply negative 8 times 1/10. And we get negative 8 over 10. And you can reduce that down if you want. But this does not equal negative 1. So line 3 and line 4 are not perpendicular. All right, in part 4, we're going to write equations of perpendicular lines with a given equation already and an ordered pair, all right? So first thing that we got to do is we need to identify what the slope of our equation that's given. Well, here, the slope is 1/5, okay? Now remember, if our lines are parallel, then the product of the two are equal to negative 1. So we have the slope of 1, and if we want to find the slope or the line that is perpendicular, then we're going to say the slope of 2, line 2, is negative 1, all right? And then to solve, you just multiply 5 for both sides, and the slope of 2 is equal to negative 5, all right? So now we're ready to write an equation using this ordered pair with our slope. So y minus y1, which is negative 4. Two negatives make a positive, so y plus 4 equals negative 5x minus 15. All right. And then in the second one, our slope is negative 3. Okay. And we need to find the slope of line 2 that makes these two lines perpendicular. So multiply them together, set it equal to negative 1, and then solve for m2. All right. Divide by negative 3 on both sides. So m2 is equal to positive 1/3. All right. So now we could write an equation using the ordered pair negative 3, 7. So y minus y1, which is 7, is equal to the slope times x minus negative, so positive 3. And then if you wanted to write this in slope-intercept form, you would just distribute the slope over the parentheses and then either add or subtract your y1 from both sides.